Now students, the topic we'll be studying is preparing the soil. As it's a part of agriculture practices, it's the first step to do the agriculture or starting the agriculture or farming. Okay, so the topic is preparing the soil. Preparing the soil. What is the meaning of preparing the soil? Means that आपकी जो soil जहाँ पे हम we will starting the farming, उस soil को हम किस तरह से improve करें जिससे कि वह farming और अच्छी हो सके. So you know this plants needs a medium to grow. Okay, and what is this medium? The medium is soil. So this soil needs to be prepared before planting the seeds. So this is called preparing the soil. You know, because this soil, it's a mixture of, you know, sands, clay, decayed matter, various amount of moisture is in it and air in it. So because of this and other microbes or insects and this worms are there, that is like bacteria and earthworms. So we require to prepare the soil which is made suitable according to our crop needs. आपका जो भी crop होगा उसकी need के हिसाब से हम हमारी soil को prepare करते हैं. Now this is the first and the most important stage for growing crops. Now it involves 3 steps, that is plowing. Okay, so first the plowing is done in the preparing the soil. So the important step in preparing the soil is plowing. Okay, plowing. What is plowing? Plowing means it is a process of loosening and overturning the soil so as to make it aerate and make it suitable for the growth of microorganism. Okay, or organism living in it. Not only microorganism but organism. Earthworms, bacteria, they are made to grow because आप क्या करेंगे जब आप plowing करते हैं, so आपके जो soil के particles होते हैं वो एकदम tightly bound होते हैं. पहले plowing करने से क्या हो जाते हैं, वो खुल जाते हैं और उनमें air के bubbles बन जाते हैं. That is, they become porous in it. So जब वो porous हो जाएंगे तो air ज़्यादा होगी, तो क्या होगा, आपके जो bacteria है या जो other living organisms है like earthworm, they can grow very easily. Okay, so this is called plowing. Plowing, the other name for plowing is tilling. Okay, so both are the same name for the one thing. So you know, if the soil is excessively dry, before plowing, you know, it needs to be watered also. पहले उसे moisture watering की जाएगी, उसे moisture बनाया जाएगा. Then we will start the plowing techniques. Okay, so this is called plowing or tilling. Now we will be discussing the benefits of plowing. Benefits of plowing. Now, the first benefit of the plowing is, you know, it allows the root to penetrate deep into the soil. Like अगर आप plowing करेंगे, so जो seeds हैं उनको space मिलेगा अच्छे से, उनकी जो roots है उन्हें travel करने के लिए soil के अंदर. So this is one thing, that is the benefit of plowing is. The second benefit of the plowing is, you know, the loose soil helps the root to breathe easily even in the deep soils. आपके जो roots है, बच्चा plant एक living being है और एक living being को air चाहिए, that is oxygen चाहिए for breathing. Okay, so this roots of the plants are also part of the plant, तो वो भी एक living part है. तो अगर वो ground के अंदर है तो भी उसे oxygen तो चाहिए for breathing purposes. So अगर आप plowing अच्छे से करेंगे, so जो आपके roots हैं उनको भी breathing space बहुत अच्छा मिलता है. The third thing, that is this loose soil helps the organisms like earthworm and your microorganisms to grow very easily. You know, this earthworms and your some microorganism are called your farmer's friend. Farmer's friend क्यों कहते हैं बच्चा? Because they help or they add humus to the soil and increase its texture. So these are the benefits of plowing, and the fourth benefit of the plowing is the soil particles which trap this air. Okay, and this air is needed by the roots of the plants. Fifth, it helps to uproot weeds from the root or from the soil. So these are the benefits of plowing. Now, bacha, this plowing is done by some instruments also. And what are these instruments we'll be discussing here? These are called agricultural implements, and we'll be discussing agricultural implements for plowing are, first is plow. As you can see in your books, there is a image of plow is given, and this image of plow is, this is the shape of your plow. It is made up of wood or iron, and it is drawn by bulls or horses or camels and this type of animals. It has a very strong and a triangular iron strip which is called plowshare, and it is the main part which is made up of a long log or a shaft of wood which is called plow shaft. So your plow is consist of two parts, that is plow shaft and plow share. Okay. So this is attached to a beam and it's kept on a bull neck, and it requires a pair of bull and a man to handle it. Now, next is hoe. Next agricultural implement which is used for plowing or for the process of preparing the soil is called hoe. You can see the image given in your book of the hoe. It is used for the loosening of soil and this removal of weeds also. It comprises of a long rod and of wood or iron or any material, and at the bottom it has a broad and a very strong bent plate of iron, and it is pulled by some animal. Okay. Next agriculture implement is cultivator. Okay, cultivator, bacha, is a machine. It's a modern mechanism which is currently we are using for plowing. Okay, it is a tractor-driven implement. Okay, इसमें tractor connect कर देते हैं और एक side पे आपका cultivator होगा. And then this cultivator is used to cultivate, that is plow our field. But this cultivator are very costly also. But it saves labor and your time. Next is leveler. Leveler is also an agriculture implement. क्या होता है, आपकी जो plow field है, it may have some lumps of soil का क्या होगा, आप जब plow करेंगे तो lumps बन जाएंगे soils के. So ये जो lumps होंगे, इनको भी क्या करना होगा, हमें तोड़ना पड़ता है. And this lumps which are broken with the help of plank, this plank is called leveler. Okay. So this field is leveled for sowing and irrigation. So a leveler is used to level the field. So the next heading we will be discussing is called manuring. Okay, let me rub this and then we will be discussing the next heading, that is manuring. Now students, what is manuring? Manuring is the production or the preparation of soil so that they get a proper amount of nutrition. Okay. Now the next heading is manuring. What is manuring, students? Manuring is the after when your soil has been prepared, it requires nutrients. ये जो nutrients हम add करेंगे, ये कहाँ से add करेंगे? From the process of manuring. And how this nutrients are added in the soil in the form of this manure and your fertilizers. Now there is an activity given in your books, okay, and this activity is to show the utility of manure and fertilizers. आपको क्या करना है बच्चा, कुछ seeds लीजिए, boom के या gram के किसी के भी, या 3 beakers लीजिए. Okay, put some equal amount of soil in all the 3 beakers and name them as A, B and C. Now in the first beaker, that is you have named that A, उसमें आप crops में कुछ cow dung डाल दीजिए, that is your organic manure डाल दीजिए, ठीक है. नेक्स्ट बी वाले में आप कुछ लिटिल यूरिया डाल दीजिए एंड सी वाले में आप कुछ भी मत डालिए और उसपे कुछ सीड्स बो कर दीजिए. फिर आप क्या देखेंगे, आफ्टर 7 to 10 days the plant, that is the plantlets in A and B are growing faster than in comparison to C. So you can say that manure and fertilizers helps the plants to grow faster. Okay, now we'll be discussing what is manure and what is fertilizer. Okay, the manure. Then we'll be discussing fertilizers. Okay, what is manure, bacha? Manure is a natural substance made by the decomposition of cattle dung, human waste and plant residue. Okay, this decomposition is done by the microorganism. You know, this manure is a organic matter or is a natural source of providing nutrients to our plants. Now next is fertilizers. What are fertilizers? When this cultivation is done on a large scale like it is happening nowadays, natural fertilizers are unable to compensate the soil which is losing its nutrient very rapidly. So we provide some artificial fertilizer to the soil to compensate the nutrients which are depleting from the soil. These are called fertilizers. Now students, fertilizers are good and they are very nutrient specific. That is, kuch aapko fertilizers, they will be providing only this nitrogen. Some will already be providing phosphorus. So different types of fertilizers or artificial fertilizers are urea, potash, superphosphate, ammonium phosphate, NPK, that is a fertilizer which has 3 types of nutrients, that is nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. But this use of fertilizers is very dangerous also, because अगर आप ज़्यादा amount में ये fertilizers use कर लेंगे तो क्या होगा? They are very harmful to our environment. Okay, and they may flow with this rainwater and you pollute your water sources also. And when this water we drink, we will also get ill. So these are about this manure and fertilizers. Students, there's a table given in your book regarding the differences between manure and fertilizer. So from this table you can see the first difference is that the manure is a natural and fertilizers is made from chemicals. Second is it improves the soil texture, but fertilizers do not improve the soil texture. Third, it is less rich in plant nutrients, but fertilizers are rich in plant nutrients. Fourth one, it increases the number of soil friendly microbes. And the fourth one in that is do not add any soil friendly microbes. Fifth one, it makes the soil porous and helps in the easy exchange of gas. Fertilizers do not have this type of quality. And the last difference is manure is less expensive and biodegradable. Fertilizer is expensive and also it is non-biodegradable. Now we'll be discussing other heading, that is other method of soil enrichment. How we can enrich soil. Okay. So let me write down the heading first. Other method of soil enrichment. Now students, this use of nutrients which are used by the soil, we can enrich the soil by using the process called green manuring. Let me write down. We can use the process of green manuring. What is green manuring, students? आपको कोई idea है? हमने manuring पढ़ी थी. What is green manuring? बच्चा क्या होगा? आप जब plowing करते हैं तो आपके जो green plants होते हैं या जो leaves होते हैं, हम उन्हें soil में क्या करते थे? एक साथ plow कर देंगे. And these plants, the green plants, the remain of these green plants, they provide the manuring to the soil. So this is called green manuring. ठीक है? आप अपनी पूरी soil को clear मत करिए. यहाँ पे green जो plants है उनके साथ ही उसे plow कर दीजिए. जिससे क्या होगा कि आपके जो plants होंगे वो आपको जो nutrients होंगे वो directly provide कर देंगे आपके जो other crop जो आपसे आप grow करने वाले हैं. Like this legumes, this bushes and this leaves and small plants are left to decompose in the field only, and the rhizobium bacteria, just is present in the nodules of this leguminous plant. They trap the atmospheric nitrogen and fix it, and which is used by the plants. So this is called green manuring. Now we'll be discussing the next heading, that is called sowing. Okay, now we'll be discussing sowing. आपने soil prepare कर दी, आपने उसमें manure भी डाल दिया. Now अब क्या चाहिए? भाई हमें खेती करनी है ना, तो हमें seeds तो बोने पड़ेंगे. So that is done by the process of sowing. So the next heading is sowing. So what is sowing? The process of placing the seed at the proper depth is called sowing. Okay, and this timely sowing of good quality seeds ensure your better crop yield. And these seeds, जो आपके बेटा sowing के लिए आप जो seeds use करते हो, उनकी कुछ qualities होनी चाहिए. The first quality is that is it should be healthy, clean and fertile seed. मतलब भाई वो seed जो है वो एक plantlet में बनना चाहिए. Okay, it should be grow into a plantlet. Okay, so it should be healthy, clean and fertile. Second, it should be high yielding variety of seed should be there. That is, आपका जो crop का production हो वो good quality का भी हो और good quantity में भी हो. Next is the third one is that the seed which we are growing should be disease free. It should do not have any type of plant disease attached to it. After selecting a better quality seed, sowing should be done. Now, how this sowing is done? In moist and appropriate depth in the soil, it should be neither too shallow or neither too deep. That is sowing के intermediate depth पे कहते हैं. ना तो बहुत ज़्यादा shallow, that is ऊपर उगा देंगे, ना बहुत ज़्यादा अंदर उगा देंगे. हम एक proper depth पे seeds को grow करते हैं या sow करते हैं. Next, adequate spacing होनी चाहिए. पता चला आपकी ये field है और आपने seed ऐसे उगा दी. ऐसे सीड्स नहीं उगाते हैं, सीड्स इस तरह से उगाते हैं, एक सीड यहाँ, एक सीड यहाँ, एक सीड यहाँ. So seeds should be grown or sown like this. That is proper spacing should be there between the seeds. क्या होगा अगर आप ऐसे seeds grow कर देंगे ना बच्चा, तो ये seed इस seed से लड़ेगा कि भाई मुझे space दो, मुझे nutrients दो. But इस केस में क्या होगा? Every seed will have a proper amount of space and every seed will have a proper amount of nutrition and every plant will be of healthy quality. Okay, so adequate space should be there between the seeds while sowing. Okay, in time according to the crop type. आप पता चला wheat उगा रहे हैं आप जून में, possible नहीं है ना? It's a rabi crop. So it should be grown or it should be sown in the season of Rabi. Okay. Now, when the seeds are sown by hands and this machines, आप seeds को sow कर सकते हैं hand से भी और machine से भी. Okay. अगर आप उसे hand से कर रहे हैं तो this method is called broadcasting. आपने देखा होगा farmers को कभी they put the seeds और वो इस तरह से फेंके. This is the method of broadcasting. Okay. Next is by machines. Seed drills are there, traditional seed drills are there, which are used to sow the seeds at a proper distance. Now, students, जरूरी नहीं है sowing हम directly भी करें. कुछ plants होते हैं जो हम क्या करते हैं उन्हें nursery में grow करते हैं, उन्हें plantlets बनाते हैं और उन plantlets को बाद में shift किया जाता है आपकी farming land पे या जो fields पे. This is the process called transplantation. ये mostly किन में होता है बेटा? Paddy plants या आपके rice plants जो होते हैं ना, इनमें हम ये mostly method use करते हैं, the method of transplantation. Okay? क्या करेंगे हम nursery में plantlet को grow करेंगे. उस plantlet जब वो एक appropriate growth पे आ जाए, appropriate उसकी size मिल जाए, तो हम उन्हें shift करेंगे and when we grow into the fields. This happens in the plants like chilies, your tomatoes and your paddy, that is your rice and all this type of things. Now there is an activity given in your books, bacha. In this activity you will be showing defective seeds that cannot germinate. So क्या कर रहा है? आपको एक bowl लीजिए, okay, fill it with half of it with water and put a handful amount of your wheat seeds in it and wait for some time. What you will be seeing that some seed get settled down at the bottom of the bowl and some float at the top. So these floating seeds are your defective seeds and are very hollow and lighter and they cannot be grown into a proper seed. Now, अभी हमने क्या कर ली? Soil को prepare कर लिया. Now हमने अब क्या कर लिया? Soil को manure कर लिया. अब हमने sow भी करनी है seeds. अब sow करने के बाद क्या होगा seeds को? We will need to provide them with water क्योंकि हम nutritions provide कर चुके हैं manuring से. अब हमें ने water provide करना है. So the process of providing water to the plant is called irrigation. So the next heading is irrigation. Okay, let me write down. Irrigation is your next topic. Okay, the seeds which are buried in the soil requires water, and this water, the water is provided by the monsoon. बट कभी कभी क्या होता है मॉनसून नहीं आती है, कभी हमें वाटर, किसी प्लांट को ज्यादा वाटर चाहिए, किसी क्रॉप को लाइक योर राइस दे रिक्वायर मोर अमाउंट ऑफ वाटर. सो हमें क्या करना पड़ता है? आर्टिफिशियली यूज करने पड़ते हैं वाटर रिसोर्सेज. सो आर्टिफिशियली जब हम वाटर प्रोवाइड करते हैं हमारे फील्ड्स को, दिस इज कॉल्ड इरिगेशन. ओके, so there are students, there are two types of method: traditional method of irrigation and there are modern method of irrigation. We'll be discussing both the methods of irrigation. First we'll be discussing the traditional method of irrigation. Let me write down traditional method of irrigation. Okay students, first traditional method of irrigation that we'll be discussing. वैसे ट्रेडिशनल मेथड्स में ह्यूमंस ज्यादा एक्टिव रहते हैं या एनिमल्स एक्टिव रह गए, बट ये एफिशिएंट कम होते हैं. ओके, सो फर्स्ट ट्रेडिशनल मेथड इज मोट. यू कैन सी द इमेज गिवन इन योर बुक ऑफ द बोट. व्हाट इज अ मोट? इज अ पुली सिस्टम. इट इज आल्सो कॉल्ड पुली सिस्टम. दिस मोट इज इन इंडिया. हम इंडिया में इस सिस्टम को मोट कहते हैं, वरना इस जनरली इस सिस्टम का नाम है पुली सिस्टम. क्या होता है बच्चा? इट इन्वॉल्व्स पुलिंग अप वाटर फ्रॉम अ वेल और अदर वाटर रिसोर्स एंड विच इज यूज्ड टू इरिगेट योर लैंड. Now moat is very extremely time consuming and a labor intensive system. बिकॉज क्या होगा? एक लेबर जाएगा, एक पानी का मटका भरेगा, देन वो इरिगेट करेगा. सो एवरी टाइम दिस इज वेरी लेबर एक्सटेंसिव सिस्टम, बट इट इज वेरी कॉस्ट एफिशिएंट ऑल्सो. नेक्स्ट सिस्टम इज कॉल्ड ढेकली सिस्टम. ढेकली. Okay, so dhekli is also a traditional method of irrigation and it is a system of drawing water from a well or some such similar source. What happens in this? We tie up a rope and a bucket to a pole. At one end, we tie a heavy stick or any other object as a counterbalance. And we use this pole to draw the water. You can see there is an image given in your book of this dhekli also. So you can see there is at the one point there is a big stone is tied up on this pole, and on the one side there is a water bucket. So this is used for irrigation of land. The next type of traditional method of irrigation is your chain pump. Okay, you can see the image of the chain pump which is given in your book. It consists of two large wheels which are connected by a chain. What happens, students? One part of the chain dips into your water source, collects the water, and as the wheel turns, this bucket which is filled with the water, it goes and lifted to a upper wheel and it is carried and it is deposited into a source. An empty bucket get carried down once again. So this system creates your chain pump system. Okay, now the next system is rahat system. Okay, This is also a traditional method of irrigation. What happens in this, बच्चा? आप image देख सकते हैं. There's an image given in your book of this rahat. Now, what happens? ये एक animal labor system है. क्या होगा? आपका कोई well है या कोई other similar source of water है. उसपे एक बहुत बड़ा सा wheel होगा. And on this wheel there are small types of buckets आते हैं. और उस wheel को हम एक pole की help से, और उस pole पे last पे एक animal होगा. वो एनिमल क्या करेगा? उस व्हील के अराउंड, वेल के अराउंड रोटेट करेगा. जैसे जैसे वो रोटेट करेगा, आपका जो बिग व्हील होगा उसमें जो बकेट्स होंगे वो भी रोटेट करते जाएंगे. सो वो रोटेट करते जाते हैं, वो नीचे पानी भरता जाता है, और आगे एक स्पेस होता है जहाँ पे क्या होगा, वो वाटर कलेक्ट हो रहा होता है. एंड दैट कलेक्टेड वाटर इज यूज्ड बाय द अदर, और दैट वाटर इज यूज्ड फॉर द इरिगेशन पर्पस. Now we will be discussing the modern methods of irrigation now. What are the modern methods of irrigation we will be discussing? जो आपकी machines use करते हैं ना, हम उनको discuss करेंगे अब. भाई जो हमारे modern methods है, we will be discussing two types of modern method of irrigation. One is sprinkler and other is drip irrigation method. So modern method of irrigation. First one is sprinkler. Sprinkler is what? You know, your फवारास. Okay. Sprinkler system में क्या होगा? It used to irrigate the land where, you know, the sprinklers used to provide the water to every part of your land. Next is your drip system. ड्रिप इरिगेशन. वैसे ड्रिप इरिगेशन आपको पता है किसमें होता है? मोस्टली जो आपके फ्रूट प्लांट्स होते हैं या वेजिटेबल्स होते हैं या ट्री प्लांट्स होते हैं, हम उनमें ड्रिप इरिगेशन करते हैं. क्या होगा? एक पाइप जा रहा होगा, उस पाइप पे छोटे छोटे से कहीं कहीं एक होल्स हुए होंगे, और यहाँ से क्या होगा, एक बूंद बूंद करके पानी निकलता है. दैट्स व्हाई इट्स कॉल्ड ड्रिप. ओके, सो दिस method is used for the irrigation of your fruits, plants and this type of thing. So this completes our irrigation topic.